Hey everyone, got a new toy in the lab in the last couple of weeks. I haven't really shown it off yet. What I got is this Powertec Levergym, you can see. So I'm going to be doing some refurbing on it. I'm going to be painting it black, so you can start to see some of the processes, the plates and stuff like that. But I want to do an initial review before all that happens. So I've had it for I think 2 or 3 weeks at this point. I bought it used, so some of the dents and things and whatnot are not from me, they're from somebody else transporting it to multiple places, so take that into consideration. But I want to give you my initial feedback, ideas, thoughts, that kind of stuff. So first I want to say this does exactly what I wanted it to do. So I got rid of my Iron Master setup, so I still have the dumbbells, but I got rid of the bench, the tower, all that stuff in favor of this. The main reason is because I think the Iron Master setup is perfect if you need to be able to move things around, whereas this is perfect if you don't. If you have dedicated space, this gives you a lot more functionality. So I traded in a bench and a tower, so I could do, high and low pulley stuff for high and low pulley, multiple angled, chest press, all the way up to overhead press, to machine rows, to machine like squats, lunges, shrugs. I figured out how to do some like kind of crossover work on it, a whole bunch of different stuff. And it can go from one arm to two arm, so there's a lot of functionality in this one piece. Like I said, it can also still do the high cable and low cable, so I actually didn't lose anything. And the bench itself has attachments, so I still have a leg curl, leg extension, and if at some point I get more room, I can always add a few of the other pieces that they have. They have a fly attachment, a leg press kind of piece, a bunch of other stuff. So, so that's the first piece. This does exactly what I want, what I wanted. I'm very happy with the general layout, the structure, the setup, in such a compact space. To get anything even close to this, typically you would have to have multiple machines that take up tons and tons of space, whereas I can do almost everything in this small compact environment. Let's see, let me give you a few other notes. So the machine arms are really smooth, they move up and down really easily. It's just on a lever point in the back, so they did a good job there. The bearings and everything I believe that they used are nice and smooth. No issues there. The lat tower is really smooth. You can even pull it off to the side a little bit, so you don't have to be straight dead on. It's much smoother than the Iron Master one, which was much smoother than my Spud Ink, so I'm going in the right direction. There's plenty of adjustment angles with the bench, with the arms, with the everything. So there's all kinds of opportunities here. So let me give you a quick walkthrough. So this is the 2016 model. So one of the keynotes here compared to the earlier models is the bench detaches. So you can see down here, you can shoot a pin in and it'll keep it in place. Otherwise this thing pulls out completely. I won't detach it right now. On top of that, so the arms go, up and down. If I pull this pin here, come out. Now the arms operate independently of each other, which is really nice for rows, for sometimes some bench press stuff, overhead, whatever, just to mix things up. The lat tower piece up here is great. General, it moves really well. So you can see over here is where you would load the plates. So one thing to keep in mind is that the dimensions listed on the website, you do need a little bit more room. I think it's something like 10 to 12 inches in the back. They don't give you that measurement, so keep that in mind. You can't really stick this in a corner. let's see, the low pulley works off of the same piece over there. The plates just load on here, so on the arms directly. It's got some storage for plates down here, which is really helpful because it keeps this more stable. Without plates, it's a little rickety. You've got your adjustment pad for your lat tower stuff, so that way you can sit down and your knees don't come up, so you can actually stay down. So you can see on the arms, let me pull this arm up, you've got a bunch of different options. So the one all the way at the bottom will let you do everything like decline, bench, and the one towards the top will let you do everything up towards overhead press to squats to all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of different, so I mean, you see the range goes all the way from there to there. And then the bench itself, assuming you use the Powertec bench, you can see adjustments all the way from here to way down here. That's the last one, which will take you from a slight decline all the way up to completely vertical. The front adjusts up to, I have a pin in there, but that way if you're doing incline you can have a little bit of support. And then this is where the attachments go in, so your leg curl, leg extension, that kind of stuff. In general, so like I said, it's used, so it does have a few little, dents and dings here and there, but nothing crazy. Just small scratches. It really shouldn't show any signs of wear even after like a year or so, because you figure as long as you're not hitting the arms with plates or anything, your plates are sliding on, they're sliding off. There's nothing coming in contact with any of this anywhere at any point. So what do I think Powertec could do better? So I think I'm a big fan of angled grips. You can see on here, it's got your normal grip, kind of your neutral grip. I think they could easily add maybe something here as an angled grip. They could play with that and figure that out. There's plenty of room without that getting in the way of anything, I think. Obviously they'd have to play with it and see how it feels, but I think that would be a nice potential addition. The lowest setting of the arms, so if you go all the way down, especially past number 1 here, so the lowest one, if you've got plates on here and you've got plates on the storage, they hit each other. Unless if you have a really small plates, so you're using only 10s or something. So if you wanted to, say, do deadlifts with this, use it as like a standing machine deadlift, you're probably going to need at least a couple 100 pounds on there. So you're not going to want to load that up with 10s. You're going to want to use your 45s. And if you got 45s on there, you're just not going to be able to do it. Seems like a really bad design setup. There's got to be a better place to put the storage plates, or figure out some way for them to not run into each other. So let me show you. I'll just throw one of my bumpers on here. So it slides on. Let me put this guy back on. So pull this up. Down, and I'm running into it. Then I'm not even all the way down to the first setting. So you can see it's kind of weird. I don't know how they didn't go through testing, figure that out, and then decide to change it. It's just odd to me. Let's see, starting in the lowest position is what you have to do on all settings. So let me explain that a little bit better. So if you bench, so bench is about here. Normally when you bench with a barbell, you would be in place, you'd unrack from up here and then lower, right? Here, you've got to start down in the bottom and bench. Now, that's how most machines work. That's especially how most lever machines work. So it just kind of is what it is. It's not a huge deal for bench or anything. It's a little awkward for squats. What I end up doing for squats, what I've been doing lately is I put it on the highest setting, I get under it, get ready, and then I pull the pin, do my squats, get up, and then put the pin back in. It's a little less safe than you potentially would want, but I don't really have a better answer for that yet. So it's not horrible, it's just something to keep in mind. If you can't get down into a low position, if you are afraid of starting down here for your bench, that kind of stuff, especially if you're going to use this for your primary use, like I use it as a secondary piece, but if this is all you were going to do, that would probably severely limit your total poundage that you could use, which would be kind of frustrating. So on the back, on the cable piece, the plates seem to slide off when in use, so I'll show you why, especially if you only have one plate on one side. So see how there's some play here? Now I'm gonna try and tighten these, but I don't really think that I can get them too much tighter without ruining kind of the movement on them. So since this has a little bit of wiggle, your plate ends up having just enough give to the side for it to start to slide off without you putting collars on. These are the collars that come with it. They're pretty shitty. They're okay. They technically get the job done, but they pretty much suck. It would just be nice, like they could have angled this up just enough on both sides to where even if it dipped to the left or to the right, it didn't do that. Or I guess what I should say, the plate wouldn't slide off. So just a slight angle tilt, we'd be good. So no need for collars, no matter what setting you had set up, no matter how many plates you put on one side or not the other, and that kind of stuff. There could be a possible dedicated band setup. So I plan to use bands, specifically kind of these micro ones. And the way I'll end up doing it is probably wrapping it around down here and then up and around here. So they're stretched like this. I don't know if you can see that very well. So I'll attach it probably either like over here somehow and then up like this, something like that. I'll have to play with it. I've only done it a little bit. But the one competitor, the almost direct kind of copy of this unit on the market is the body solid version. So they call it I think it's the corner gym or something like that. They actually have band attachments down at the bottom, like right down here. So it's just a little hook that's welded on. So then that way your band can come straight up and attach to the bar instead of having to come off at a weird angle or something. I may decide to drill into that, put an eye hook or something like that and get it done. I don't want to have to, so I'm not going to right out the gate. I'm going to see how it works the other ways. But that should be a really easy fix or change or tweak for them to do to add some additional functionality, which would be nice. Dedicated band. It really needs plates to keep it balanced. If you don't plan on storing plates, like you don't have extra ones just to keep around, I do. I'm kind of lucky in that regard, but if you don't, like if you have those plates on there and those are the ones that you're going to then use on here, you're going to end up finding, especially for squats and stuff, that this thing is really wobbly. With the plates, and that's not that many, it's grounded solid as can be. But without any weights at all, when you get up under it, like I said, especially for squats, it's kind of all over the place. So just one thing to keep in mind. It could potentially, another way to fix that could be if it just simply had a way to built in to like attach to the floor. So let me show you on my GHD. So my GHD on the front part has these little guys, right? So I don't need to use them on it because it doesn't need it. But if this had something like that came out maybe like here and here, and maybe in the back it had two or something, you could drill it down into the floor in some fashion, and then maybe that would remove the need for plates to have to be there, which would then potentially also remove your issue of having plates on the bottom peg and them running into each other and all kinds of stuff. So on top of that, you know, the bench is a little wobbly. It's not bad by any means. It's really useful for the machine. But if I was going to use it as a standalone bench, like for rack work, for, you know, a couple 100-pound bench press and stuff, I wouldn't trust it. And it's not that it's not going to hold thousands of pounds. It's just it's going to rock back and forth a bit. So it works for dumbbell work. It works for the machine, but anything else, I'd be a little sketchy. It's also one thing to note that you aren't going to go probably from exercise to exercise on here. So let's say I wanted to do flat bench. So I've got it in the setting right here, and I've got two 45s here and two 45s here, and then I decide, okay, now I want to do incline. There's no easy way to adjust, and unless if I want to kind of clean up 90 pounds and then, you know, kind of get under here and, you know, adjust the pin and whatever, it doesn't really work. So you end up having to take your plates off all the way, then adjust it up, then put your plates back on. It's not a big deal for me because I typically only do like one round of kind of isolation type work. But again, if you thought you were going to do like a drop set from incline to flat to decline or something like that, it's probably not going to happen. You might be able to, with a partner, go down, but probably not back up. I'm not a huge fan of the stabilizer piece that they put on here. So it runs from here all the way to the other side, you can see. It's meant to keep the whole thing sturdy when we're doing like leg work, so when you remove the bench. I don't think it works very well, and it also kind of gets in the way of the bench. So you pull the bench out, and then the wheels have to go up and over that piece, and it kind of gets stuck, and it's kind of a pain, and then you got it all the way out, and then you pull it back in, and it's got to go back over, and then you're off track, and there's a good chance that I'm going to pull mine off and see how it works without it. Like I said, I just feel like it's kind of in the way. The powder coat and everything like that is really solid. Like I said before, and the last piece that, you know, one negative that I'll go with is this attachment holder. So it's supposed to be, you know, you hook up like your lat pull down here, and then when you're done with it, it can kind of store up in these hooks. I don't know anybody who's only going to do one type of bar pull down. I mean, I guess if you're only ever going to do lat pull downs with a straight bar or something, but what if you want to do tricep push downs, or you want to do face pulls or something? Now you've got to switch out your attachment, which is fine, you can do it here, but those things just really kind of get more in the way than they are actually helpful. It seems like kind of a gimmicky piece, like oh, you know, you can store your lat attachment when you're not using it. Again, I guess that's fine if you're only using one attachment, but I don't know, it's just weird. So those are the pieces. So angled grip, the lowest setting, it hits the plates. You have to start in a kind of stretched position. The plates seem to slide off on the cable attachment. It would be nice to have a dedicated band set up. There really needs to be plates or something to stabilize it. The current stabilizing kind of by itself doesn't really work very well. The stabilizer piece is a little wonky. Doesn't really seem to do what it's supposed to do very well, in my opinion. It could use, let's see, the leg extension and attachment piece that I used so far. I don't really like that much. I think it could be done better. I'll still use it. I mean, it's still better than not having one by a long shot, but it's not as well done as the Iron Master one. It's difficult to adjust the pins because of the weight. I mean, I don't know if there's anything you could do about that. The bench is a little wobbly, so they could look into maybe fixing that a little bit. And then that attachment piece at the top is just kind of funky. A lot of those are really kind of nitpicky pieces. The reason why those exist is because this thing does so much. It's really, really, really hard to do so many things and not have any downsides at all. You know, hammer strength machines are dedicated to one movement. That's why they're so good at that one movement, but then you need 96 machines to be able to do everything. This is one machine that lets you do a ton of stuff in a really small space. So if you're looking for something that gives you the ability to do what you might see in a commercial gym more often in your home setting, especially if you've already got a rack, your bars and plates and everything, your options really are the body solid unit, which is like this. You can pick up one of those kind of all-in-one setups. You know, it's got like the upright and the cables and this thing and that. You could pick up some type of a Smith machine or this guy. I like this a lot. So far so good. We'll see how I feel in a year. I'll be back to do a full 1-year review. But so far, no real big complaints. Everything is just kind of, again, me being nitpicky, pointing out some things that I think Powertec could do better, potentially in their 2017 or 2018 model. Following them for the last few years, it looks like they update every 2 years or so. So, yeah, stay tuned. Like I said, I'll be back in a year and I'll do a full recap, see if my feelings are still the same, if anything's changed, how I'm using it, how it's held up, dents, dings, whatever it might be. Thanks.